Lily sat by the window, her fingers lightly tracing the raindrops on the glass. It had been a week since Ethan had left, a week since she had lost her better half. The house felt cold, as if it too was mourning his absence. It seemed like a lifetime ago when they were laughing together, sharing the dreams, and holding each other close in their small, cozy home. But now, everything felt still, like the silence after a storm. Lily and Ethan had always been a pair, inseparable, as if they were two halves of the same whole. They met when Lily was a shy, quiet girl, and Ethan was the confident, charming boy who could make anyone smile. They had been friends first, and their friendship slowly bloomed into something deeper, something that neither of them had expected. Ethan had always been there for her, in every way that mattered. When her father passed away, Ethan held her while she cried, never once asking her to stop. He knew how much pain she carried, and he never tried to fix it. He simply held her, and that was all she needed. They had gotten married after a few years, on a sunny afternoon that seemed to bless their love. The air was warm, and there were flowers everywhere, bright yellow daffodils, white lilies, and soft pink roses. Ethan looked at Lily with such tenderness, as if she were the most precious thing in the world, and for her, he was the same. She had never felt so complete as she did standing beside him, holding his hand. But over time, life had a way of testing them. Ethan's work had begun to demand more and more of his time. His job in the city kept him busy, and the late nights had become more frequent. Lily had noticed the subtle changes first, the way his smile wasn't quite as warm, the way his eyes seemed distant, as if they were no longer looking at her but through her. At first, Lily had tried to ignore it, telling herself that it was just the pressure of work. But then there were the quiet moments at dinner when Ethan would be lost in his thoughts, and Lily would have to fill the silence with her own words. She had always been the one to talk more, but now, she could see that Ethan wasn't truly listening anymore. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, Ethan came home later than usual. His tired eyes and slumped shoulders told Lily everything she needed to know. They sat at the dinner table in silence, neither one of them willing to speak about the growing distance between them. It was a distance that neither of them could name, but both felt. "I'm sorry, Lily," Ethan said suddenly, breaking the silence. Lily looked up, surprised. "What for?" "For not being here, for not being the husband you deserve," he said, his voice barely a whisper. Lily felt a lump form in her throat. "Ethan, I don't need you to be perfect. I just need you here, with me." But he wasn't there, not in the way she needed him to be. Ethan had always been kind, always giving, but now his attention was elsewhere. Lily didn't know if it was the stress of work, or something deeper, but she could feel the change in their relationship. She could feel the love slipping away, just out of her reach. Weeks turned into months, and the distance between them only grew. Lily found herself longing for the old Ethan, the one who had held her hand through every difficult moment, the one who had been her constant. Now, it felt like she was holding on to a ghost. She would lie awake at night, wondering where everything had gone wrong. She had tried everything she knew, talking to him, being patient, giving him space, but nothing seemed to bring him back. It wasn't until one rainy evening that everything came crashing down. Ethan came home earlier than usual, his face pale, his eyes filled with sorrow. He sat across from Lily at the dinner table, and for the first time in a long time, there was no wall between them. She could see the pain in his eyes, the regret, the sadness. "I've been thinking a lot, Lily," he began, his voice shaky. "I don't know what happened to us. I don't know where I went wrong." Lily's heart sank. She had known this moment was coming, but she wasn't prepared for it. She had been holding on to the hope that things would get better, that the distance between them would close. But now, as Ethan sat before her, she realized that sometimes, no matter how much you love someone, you can't fix what's broken. "I'm not the man I used to be," Ethan said quietly. "And I can't be the man you need me to be. I think we need some time apart." Lily's breath caught in her throat. She had known this was coming, but hearing it out loud felt like a knife to her chest. She wanted to scream, to tell him that she couldn't lose him, that she needed him. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, she sat there, staring at him, as the silence between them stretched on. "I'm so sorry, Lily," Ethan said, his voice trembling. "You deserve so much more than I can give you." And with that, he left. Just like that, he left, and Lily was left alone with her thoughts, with the echo of his words haunting her. The days that followed were a blur. Lily spent her time trying to understand what had happened, trying to make sense of the love they had shared. She couldn't grasp how it had all unraveled so quickly. One moment, they were planning their future together, and the next, She was alone. She found herself visiting places they had once gone together, hoping to find some trace of the love they had shared. She would sit on the bench in the park where they had spent hours talking, laughing, and dreaming. She would walk along the river where they had shared their first kiss, hoping to feel some connection, some spark. But there was nothing. The places that had once held so much meaning now felt empty, hollow. It wasn't until one evening, months later, that Lily found herself standing outside their old home. She had avoided it for so long, unable to face the memories that lingered within its walls. But now, something drew her there, a pull she couldn't explain. She opened the door quietly, the familiar creak of the hinges sounding like a distant memory. The house was silent, just as it had been the day Ethan left. But something had changed. The air felt different, as if the walls themselves were waiting for her. Lily walked through the rooms, touching the furniture, the pictures, the little things that had once brought so much joy. She stopped in front of the bedroom door, her hand hovering over the doorknob. She had been avoiding this room, afraid of what she might find. But now, she needed to face it. She opened the door and stepped inside. It was just as it had been when Ethan had left. The bed was unmade, the clothes still scattered on the floor, the empty space where his side of the bed had been. She sat down on the edge of the bed, her hands resting in her lap. And then, she remembered the last time they had been together. The way Ethan had held her, his arms strong around her, offering comfort and solace. She had felt safe in his embrace, like nothing in the world could touch them. It was in that moment that she realized something. No matter how far apart they had grown, no matter how much pain they had caused each other, the love they had shared was still there. It had never truly disappeared. It was just buried, hidden beneath the weight of their struggles. Lily closed her eyes and let the memories wash over her. She remembered the laughter, the quiet moments, the way Ethan had always known how to make her feel loved. It was in those memories that she found the strength to move forward. Ethan had been her better half, and even though they were no longer together, he had shaped her in ways she would never forget. The love they had shared was a part of her, woven into the fabric of her being. And while the pain of losing him would never fully go away, she knew that the love they had would live on in her heart. As she left the house that night, the rain had stopped, and the sky was clearing. The stars shone brightly above her, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was still light. Lily took a deep breath, letting the cool air fill her lungs. She wasn't sure what the future held, but for the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of peace. Sometimes, love wasn't about having someone beside you every moment of the day. Sometimes, love was about letting go, about accepting the things that couldn't be changed. And as Lily walked away from the house, she knew that she had finally found the strength to embrace her own future, with or without Ethan. Because she would always carry a part of him with her, in her heart, as her better half.